What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Greetings, dear viewer. I usually do a script where I read, but it just felt unnatural. So this time we are gonna do it live. Hi, how's it going? Last episode, if you didn't check, we did Skybridge 21 as a brand new tank. It went terribly, but we've made a lot of progress here. I've managed to do all of the 21s, aside from Seat of Triumvirate, aside from Seat 21. This means that if we manage to complete this dungeon, we will be getting Resilient Key 21 after just 1 week of tanking, which is absolutely insane. I have learned so much during the week, and I can't help my team. I can't help but to thank my team for teaching me all these things that I needed to know that I had no idea that tanks were already doing. I've learned a lot. I've improved as a tank and as a player and as a Mythic Plus key player. And yeah, let's get to the video. So to get you guys all caught up, I was forced to transfer my Druid from a Boomy to a Guardian. My guildies really needed someone to help them with their homework keys. These are the keys that you have to do to progress further into your rating from 21 to 22, which then gives them the rating and lets them push on and so forth. Unfortunately, I have never played tank. I have never played a Guardian Druid, and this led to some major casualties on our first run, which was Skybridge 21. After that, we have managed to complete every single key from Windrunner Spire to Magister Ceros, Pit of Saron, and we even managed to one-shot Nexus points. Unfortunately, not all dungeons were as forgiving as Nexus Point, because I was really struggling with the Academy 21.
Only the strongest survive.
And I was extremely struggling with the Mysera Caverns because there were some very questionable pools that I had to learn so that we would actually beat the timer. For example, in Academy, I had to do a pull without CDs where there were multiple battle axes, multiple kicks, interrupts, in caps. Everything was an absolute mess, and I had to kite around the room, but I couldn't get the mobs spread out because then the DPS would have a hard time doing actual DPS and we would actually wipe. So it was an absolute mess, and it took me a couple of tries before we actually got it done. And I am super happy that that keys passed me because I never want to go back to Academy. But unfortunately, Mysera Caverns was way worse. Not only did I have to drag the mobs all the way across the map to the huts and get impaled by tank busters, I also had to learn a pool where I would have to sneak past certain packs, I would have to CC the patrols, and then I would have to independently pull bears and masks and casters, and then I would have to drag them to an edge where I would have to clip the mobs to the boss, and it's an absolute mess. I'll just show you the clips so you get what I mean. Luckily, we managed to beat the timers on both of these hard instances, so now that we're only having Seat of Triumvirate left, I am very confident that we will get this done in due time. But unfortunately, as you can probably see from the start, I have very hard time doing the gatherings. I'm getting back shots and just not doing a very good job at gathering all the mobs efficiently. As always, the first pool is an absolute mess. I would have to gather around five packs together. There's multiple champions charging, there's casters, so I will have to make sure that we get them all to the same pack, and then we can bloodlust and stabilize. It's a very hard pack, but luckily after a couple of tries, it took maybe like a half an hour to an hour, I really got the first room down. We do the whole room in 3 pools, where the first pool is 5 packs, the second pool is 2 packs, and then we chain the rest of the mobs to the boss. And the boss itself is fairly self-explanatory. We just have to kite around the room while we're cleaning down the ads. He will spawn some globs, and we will seize the globs and save our Monk's Ring of Peace for the suction ability, which will let us to bypass the mechanics, and we don't have to leave down the mobs. We can just ignore them completely and focus on burning down the boss. After a wee bit of practice, I feel very confident. The first room is going very swell, and now we're actually getting to the hard part, because we are going to be having to pull mini bosses with a lot of packs. I have to gather them, there's more champions, there's more casters, and it's a hassle to get them all through. Not to mention that all of these packs deal a lot of AoE damage, so our DPS are getting burnt down, so it's not just me suffering, it's the whole pack. Luckily, I've been getting the first few packs fairly well, but here's where things get a bit tricky. There's this mob called the war-adepts. They have this tank ability where they knock back the tank like 10 yards, which causes the champions to charge at me and chunking my HP if I'm not careful. Luckily, I can combat this special ability with my Skull Bash, which lets me cancel the knock mid-air and get me back on the mobs without them charging at me, but the timing is really tight, so I have to really get this done correctly. I think it took me 2 to 3 tries before I actually got the timing correctly. I would either press it too late or press it too early and just get annihilated again and again. What doesn't help me with my anxiety of missing the timer is that we're going to be pairing the war-adept pack with the champions, with the mini-boss, with the caster pack as well. So I have to go back and forth dodging stuff on the floor while trying to time my Skull Bash properly so I don't get charged and I don't killed, and if I get knocked or pack battle too much, the mini-boss will get away from the void portal and start pulsing AoE damage to our team, which causes a wipe as well. So these packs are insanely hard for the tank, and as a brand new tank player, I have no idea how actually proper tanks handle these without losing their minds. Fortunately, the largest pack is the first one, so after we've done that, the second one is a bit easier and the third one is a lot easier. But there's still 3 packs where you have the war-adepts mixed with the massive blue void thingies and the portals, and this is by far the hardest part of the instance for the tank as well, because this is where I have all the personal responsibility, and I hate it because I am a brand new tank and I have no idea how to handle these kind of situations properly. I have to manage my cooldowns, which I am not very accustomed to yet, so you can see why I am very anxious about it. Luckily, at this point, we've had multiple wipes and I have had more than an hour of time to learn how these fights are going. I can stack up my Iron Fur, and I have been prepared for this, and now I know how to pull the packs properly so that the DPS can actually play the game and I don't get one shot and the healer doesn't get upset with me. Luckily, the boss is very relaxed. For some reason, Blizzard hasn't fixed how the second boss works, so when it spawns these mines, I can just walk into them. I can take 1 to 3 at a time and just use a cooldown, and the initial blast from stepping on a mine isn't scaled with the key level. It deals the same damage as it would on a Mythic 0. This means that I can just take them on, I can face tank them a bit, and I will survive without an issue, which helps us clear the map and the boss plays itself fairly easily. After the second boss, we will be dragging the Void Infused Destroyer and the Void Benders. Luckily, the casts are fairly negligible. They're easily avoidable. It's a long cast time, and if you interrupt it once, it won't cast for another 8 to 10 seconds. So we can just drag the pack down for the camp, and we will get a nice burn of 8 to 10 top mobs at the same time. After which, when the pack is done, we can do the skip to the third boss room without an issue. This third boss room is the bane of my existence. We have 4 casters that we have to be constantly interrupting. We cannot let cast go on, while we have 3 of these large mobs that spawn these dodgeball portals that spawn orbs, and if you get hit by the orb, you will almost certainly die. I think only the tank can take one of the orbs without dying, and it's a bit of a hassle trying to get the kicks done. You have to assign the players to the kicks, while you're trying to play dodgeball with 3 different incomes of the orbs. Luckily here we got all the casts done, and even though it looks like a mayhem, it was fairly controlled and we had no issues getting the packs done. We've been gassing the whole instance. We have still 15 minutes left before the timer is up, and we only have 2 bosses left and no camps. If you ask me, I think that the third boss is the hardest boss of this instance. It deals heavy damage, so DPS players have to be very careful on their personal use. It spawns 3 of these orb kind of thingy spawn points where you have to play dodgeball, and then it will spawn these unfurled tentacles that we have to cleave down before the intermission. The intermission itself hurts a lot, so this is where the DPS players' personal CD usage comes in handy, but what makes it extra tricky is that we are super close to the caster pack that we cannot pull. We have to skip the pack because it's full of mobs that just are very inefficient, very strong, and might actually wipe us. And what does it help is that during the intermission, the boss stands right next to them, and our Demon Hunter or DK could very easily ninja pull one of the mobs, causing us to wipe. As we were getting closer to the 15% mark, we got extremely unlucky here. On the upper right corner you can see Eyekeeper, which is our DK's mob, and for some reason after it finishes the Umbral Tentacle, it just decides that it wants to go greet the blueberry and pulls the Void Color pack into us. There is literally nothing we can do here. The casters will get free cast, we're in the intermission already taking heavy damage, so we just call it the wipe here. This was unbelievable. Luckily, we've been gassing the whole instance so hard that we still have 11 minutes to complete the dungeon and we only have 2 bosses left. Unfortunately, we did use our Bloodlust there, so we will have around 10 minutes to finish up the third boss and then the last boss. So we just decided that we're gonna commit and go through with it, and hopefully we can get the damage done and get the instance done completed in time without actually wiping again. The second attempt on the boss fight goes almost as planned. We get very good spawns with the tentacles, we are burning them down in record speed, and everything is going fine and dandy. We are constantly discussing in our voice that we have to be careful that we don't pull the pack again, because if that happens, the key is bricked. We did get a couple of deaths here, but luckily, since we only team wipe earlier, we still have 3 resurrections left, and we get the players back in, and we managed to burn down the boss down, and we will head down to the last boss. On Lura, my inexperience as a tank comes in once again. I had no idea that we can actually help the healer a bit by dragging the boss on one of the orbs that we have to aim the beam into. That way we can actually hit 4 orbs at the same time, leaving only 2 for the next one. Usually teams would take 4-1-1, which is take 4 hits, 10 take 1 hit, and then finish off the last one for the burn phase. This way the team won't take that much damage and we can stack our CDs and everything is prepared. Unfortunately, we only have 4 minutes left on the timer, so we don't have the luxury for that, so we will just send it in the 4th and 2 and then burn down the boss, and hopefully we will get the damage done. We did the first burn without the lust, so it goes around 60 to 50% and we get a good burn. It was really good, but now the issue is that we don't have another lineup CDs for the next burn, which is coming in around a minute, but we still have to commit because there is just no timer left. Luckily, we do get Bloodlust on the second burn, and we get a lot of damage done to the boss. We get it to the lethal range, and we manage to push the boss down with just 30 seconds left on the timer. And here it is. I managed to get Keystone Resilient Achievement 21 while getting everything from 21 all the way to the 13. So yeah, this was my first Seat of Triumvirate tanking experience ever. So yeah. That was my first week as a tank, as a Guardian Druid, and I think that it went fairly well. It took way too many tries on each of the instances to get it done, obviously, because I had no idea how the tank or how the routes would go or what tanks are even doing during the pulls. I always just kind of thought that they would just gather everything and AFK or something, but yeah, it's been a learning experience and I truly enjoyed the journey. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was very fun making it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later!